Hey guys, I'm Nathan from Arms and Armor. Today I want to show you two different styles of daggers from the 14th century. Stay tuned. So, these are two of my favorite daggers that we make. They're both from the high medieval period, middle of the 14th century. This one is based on a fresco by Baldacchino from the 1370s from northern Italy, and it is a Rondel dagger. Rondel means round, and that's what these disc guards on this dagger, that's what rondel means. It refers to the rounds or the discs. This is a very fancy version. They were often just had a plain steel disc or a bronze disc on either end of the grip. This grip, of course, we hand carve out of, this one I believe is walnut on here. And yeah, we just hand shape it. Of course, you can see the peening block and the peen, they're on the other end. This whole piece is about something like 17, 18 inches long, little under 18 inches. It's got a foot-long blade that is sharp on one side. So the back side, you can see how stout this blade is in cross section, tapers down to a fine point, and this edge is sharp. And so this is a fancy variety of knightly dagger. You'd wear this on your right side as an additional sidearm. If you were in armor and fighting, you might wear this out of armor as well because it's a very fancy piece. And you'd wear it on your right side. You could draw it and thrust and stab. Most of the dagger fighting plays from the medieval fight books are from this position that assumes that you've pulled it from your right side, right? Your sword's on your left side. You pull this from the right side in this kind of ice pick position that I would argue helps you get through all kinds of armor, right? Even just a plain doublet in a period, or a gambus in an arming garment might be 24 layers of linen, right? You need to really stab that thing to get through. So that's why these are this shape. This dagger, so our 14th century dagger, is a Quillion Dagger. Right? That also refers to the hilt shape. This cross, right, is sometimes referred to as, the quillion block and quillions. And the quillions are the guards on the sides of a sword blade that protect your hand. Right? So you could also call it a cruciform dagger. This is in the shape of a cross. And I think this is why this particular style was popular. Right? It looked like a sword, even though you used it differently than a sword, and it looked like a cross, which was, a strong aesthetic during the high medieval period. So this has a disc pommel, a square peening block on top. The grip's about 3.5 inches long, which really locks your hand in there for this kind of wrestling dagger combat, which if you've studied it, you have to keep a strong grip on there. Someone's gonna try and take it away. It's a hardwood grip covered with thin leather that's shrunk on with beeswax. You can see there's a riser here, stitching line. This blade is also about a foot long. This one is diamond section, so it's sharp on both sides. It has a fuller about 2/3 the length of the blade with a very acute point. This would also be worn on the right side for thrusting work to the eyes, right, to the collarbone area. And this is long enough that it will go from your shoulder all the way through your heart if it doesn't hit substantial armor. The blade is also very rigid and quite stout. Right? That's one of the characteristics of this kind of fighting dagger, is that they have rigid, stout blades that can stand up to being repeatedly smashed against armor, right? And that can be used for the wrestling, the breaks, the dislocations, and the throws that were popular in the fighting style of Fiore de Berry or of the Lichtenauer tradition in Germany. So I actually use a rebaited one of these with a safety point for doing armored combat training because it's so rigid. It actually allows you to use the dagger to push your opponent, to lock around their arms, their body. You can use it as a pry bar in a bunch of ways that are required in the fighting system. And if you have a flexible, safe kind of parrying dagger, it's just not going to work to train a whole bunch of those fighting moves. So, Quillion Dagger, Rondel Dagger, both 14th century Western European fighting daggers with similar functions. Right? They work just the same. It was pretty much an aesthetic difference. And we see both of them archaeologically and in art from the period. Check them out. Thank you.